A warm welcome back to the Forensics Detailing channel. In this video we're going to be comparing two paintwork protection products. Meguiars Hybrid Ceramic Liquid Wax, which is an SiO2 a sort of emulsion liquid wax with ceramic technology, ceramic made easy. We're going to be comparing that to its main rival on the shelves of Halfords, which is the Autoglym Extra Gloss Protection, a high gloss protective paintwork sealant. So the first thing we need to do, guys, we have this panel here that's been compounded again with wool to give us a hazy, kind of glossy but hazy finish, which is not ideal. It's not perfected paint. But we take 5 pre-readings and the average gloss 85.6 on one side and 86.1 on the other side, and our average haze readings, and we're going to see how these products improve the visual performance. We did a previous test with these hand polishes that you can use to prepare the paint in advance, like these glazes if you like. We're not going to include those in this test, but we will do a full end-to-end test of prepping the paint with these and then applying these on top of each section. But I don't want to muddy the water with this particular test. So let's just crack straight on, guys, and get these products installed. So just bear with me. I'm going to put this over here so you can get a nice view of what we're doing while I'm talking about this, okay? So the Autoglym Extra Gloss Protection, we're going to apply that first because it takes 30 minutes to dry. So you shake it up, you apply a thin even layer over the painted surface, so we'll use a little applicator here. Do not get it on rubber or unpainted plastic trim. Allow 30 minutes to buff, to haze up and dry, and then buff it with a microfiber cloth, okay? So there we go. It's a very familiar kind of user experience. It's quite a thin product, this. You see that? So it's really well dissolved. I'll bring you in on this so you can actually see the application experience as well. So we'll put this on this panel, and it is like applying a solvent, like a mineral spirit almost on the panel, because indeed it is a solvent-based product. So it contains resins and waxes. So if we just do 2 passes over this paintwork like this, just to make sure we've got a little kind of even film of the product, and then we're done. That's quite a lot of product there, actually. You would spread that a little bit further, but that's kind of how it goes on. So you can see that misty kind of film there. We've got clean microfiber cloths over here to wipe that with. So that needs a half an hour time, so I just need to know what the time is, so just bear with me. It's okay, brilliant, it's 12:29, so basically at 1 o'clock I'll be ready. So this is we've mentioned this is a wax and kind of resin. What type of resins? Is it acrylic resins? Because it's quite an old-fashioned product with respect, so maybe it's got older technology, and the Meguiars, you could say, with its SiO2 is a more modern product. So with the Meguiars, we shake up that product and we put a little couple of dollops onto our applicator. I'd say you get better control just dosing out the Meguiars product because it's slightly thicker and it's slightly more like what a liquid wax would be. And we can just dab that out and then just work that into 2 passes. And indeed, it feels more like what you'd expect like a liquid wax to feel like. It's not as thin as the Autoglym product, but that requires just a little bit more working, if you see what I mean. So you could probably get that Autoglym liquid onto a car quicker. This might just require a little bit of working, but there wouldn't be much in it, guys. There wouldn't be much in it. You wouldn't be particularly fussed. Now, one of the differences with this SiO2 product is you leave that for about 3 to 5 minutes, and it doesn't dry or haze like the Autoglym product. So while we're just waiting a little bit for that to dry, we'll also do our first comparison, which is price. The Meguiars product cost me £17.06 from Halfords for 473ml. The Autoglym product cost me £14.39 from Halfords for 500ml. Can you beat these prices out there online? Yeah, sometimes you can, yeah. Sometimes I've seen a super extra gloss protection, less than £10, so it can be very affordable. Sometimes that I've seen it higher, but that's a fair price comparison. But just consider that that's less than 500, so we normally round that up, don't we? Bump it up a little bit, so that might be £18 for 500ml. But you can see that either way, the Autoglym product wins on price. So what we'll do is we'll do a little circle there in green, and when we've gone through and done all our tests on price, gloss and haze will be in visual performance, so there'll be a winner on that. Ease of application, beading and durability. So we'll have 5 marks. So one has got to win unless any of these are a draw. Which one will it be? I'm not sure. I'll come back when this is finished curing and we will buff it, and we will take gloss readings to determine the winner of section 2. We'll take 5 average readings, 5 readings, and the average post-gloss compared to pre-gloss, and the average post-haze compared to pre-haze. So we'll create a delta, which will be the difference between the two. So which one's added the most gloss and reduced the most haze. We'll do the same with the Autoglym, see which one has the best data and award it the mark. We'll be back. Doug. Okay, we're back. It's half an hour. That's been buffed off after 3 to 5 minutes. This one we're going to buff now. So it's pretty much dry. It's a little bit in the corner there. It's quite a cold day. So we're above 5 degrees. So there's a bit more resistance with the buff on this. A little bit more resistance. It's a bit of a heavier, thicker buff. If I don't put the pressure, this microfiber will it needs a little bit of pressure and a little bit of buffing. And you do get that build up of like the crust, the crumbs, the white kind of residue with this. So if you did like a whole bonnet or a whole roof and you're going through buffing, you sort of find yourself going and kind of getting that crusty stuff off of there a little bit with this product. But it's not too bad. You might just be flipping the microfiber a little bit more. But you can see the dust from it, if you like. Once it's all done, just make sure we've got a good finish. It feels like a nice polished surface, it feels pretty nice. Is it as slick feeling as the Meguiars? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say the Meguiars, for me, yeah. Oh, I don't know though. It's got a nice polished feel to it. Yeah. Nice feel to that. I'm going to say the Meguiars has a slight edge on that slickness, but there's not much in it. Right, what we're going to do now is just have a look at this under the light. So we're not going to have perfected paint. So we had a compounded finish. You can still see like the hazing from the compound finish. This is the Meguiars side. So let's just go over to the Autoglym side. For me, that Autoglym side looks better. What do you think? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Really has improved the taking out that compounding haze more than the Meguiars product, I think, from my eyeballs. Just looking at all that haloing around the kind of light. Yeah, there's a lot more clarity in the finish of the Autoglym side, which is interesting. So there's a more of a similarity between the results with the extra gloss protection and the super resin polish. Like it's filled, the resins seem to have filled and improved that paint. So this extra gloss protection might have a better filling effect, being more resinous than this water-based kind of emulsion, the Meguiars product. I'm just going to have a sip of tea. Right, so let's let's take our gloss data now. So we've given the panel a good wipe. And this is interesting. So we'll reset there on 0. So we just want 5 readings of the Meguiars. Yeah, we're on stats here, so we want to come back off there. So there's our reading there. So that's a good improvement on gloss actually from the Meguiars, but not a reduction of haze, which I think we were actually seeing on our eyeballs. Still that kind of halo-y haze. Yeah, good gloss on Meguiar's side. We're learning stuff about these products here, and I think you're going to see a lot lower haze on the Autoglym side from what our eyes were seeing. Good improvement though on this panel. Right, oh, that's a bad reading, because that should never be 0, so let's just delete that. For whatever reason, we'll just move the panel around, so we're back at n equals 4. We want 5 readings. There we go. Oh, that's a bad reading. Something going on down there. Let's just give that a little wipe. We want 5 good readings. Sometimes you can get a bad reading, so we'll just come back up. We'll avoid down there for whatever reason. There we go, good reading. So let's have a look at our stats now. So we've got a mean gloss of 88.7. So that's a good improvement, that is. And the lower the pre-gloss, the more improvement we would expect to get. Let's go to our log haze 13.3 and a good reduction. So we want to reduce log haze there. So we've got an increment of +2 there. Ooh, my maths. That's 3.1, isn't it? +3.1. So this is the interesting data, because that's what we're going to compare. Right, so we go over now. Delete all batches. Back to n equals 0. We'll go to the Autoglym side. I reckon we're going to be lower on haze. Not too sure about gloss though. I reckon maybe the gloss might be better as well. Yeah, good reduction in haze. Good improvement on gloss as well. Yeah, that's interesting, that is. That's a bum reading. Oh, deleted it, we'll take it again. There we go, it's a good reading. If you ever got a 0 gloss, something's gone wrong. And our last reading, so we definitely got better haze. Yeah, well, better mean haze. Oh, where's our stats? So 88.2 gloss, post gloss, 88.2, and 10.6. So now we do our deltas. That's an increment of +2.1 gloss and +5, 15.6, 10.6, +5 haze. Really interesting. How do we score this? How do we score this? Because the Meguiars did add more gloss by 1 gloss unit, which is significant. It's like a 50% increase. But the difference in haze was massive. Similar to what we had with the Auto Resin polish by hand. It had the best reduction in haze, but the Meguiars had the better increment of gloss. So let's just delete all that. Put this over here. So how do we do that? But I reckon for me, tell me if I'm wrong, but I reckon the visual appearance of that is better. There's less halo in. That filling effect has given us a better finish. And overall, if we look at the units of improvement, we've got 7.1 overall units of improvement versus 5.1 overall units of improvement. It would come down to whether or not you rated gloss more than haze. But for me, I'm going to give the win to this because we've got a higher overall increment and it looks better to my eyes, and I've shown you that as well. But this is all stuff that can all be discussed. But I'm going to give that to the Autoglym because I think that's the better appearance, and the data supports that being a better appearance of the two panels. Now, we'll move on to the next test. Ease of application. For me, this is a no-brainer. It's the Meguiars. Why? This product has a 30-minute cure. You've got to wait for it to haze out. The buff on it's a lot thicker. You don't want to get it on trim because it will dry on the trim. Whereas the Meguiars product is plastic and kind of chrome safe. It goes on, it doesn't haze. You just leave it 3 to 5 minutes maybe to bond or do something. Maybe a bit of a cure goes on, who knows, and you buff it, and it buffs really easily without that collection of the residue or the powdery bits. It's a no-brainer. I think the Meguiars product is nicer to work with than the Autoglym. You also don't get that solvent smell coming out of it. You're vaping the solvent out of this product, and it has a sort of musky solvent smell, that familiar kind of Autoglym solvent. So at the moment it's 2-1 to me, to the Autoglym. We're going to do the beading testing now because we can get this panel wet. I don't want to hit it with any detergents or anything. I'll leave this panel for I'll just leave it outside after the beading test, and then we'll start washing it. So what I'll do is I'll just go and set up now, and we'll come back and see which one's the most hydrophobic. Okay, here we go, we're back. Put this on the shower. Let's just have a look at the hydrophobic setting. Can you see? Can you see? Yeah, you should be able to. So that's, you might think that's amazing. That's good, but that's not a 10 out of 10 on hydrophobicity. That might be like a 7 or something like that. It's a good amount of hydrophobicity. That's a lot slower to me. So it's that pooling speed. Interesting. Let's just try and flood the panel. Meguiars is a bit of a strange one, but for me, that Autoglym is more hydrophobic. It's that slower pooling speed. Both pretty good. Maybe that's a 7 out of 10, something like that. Maybe a bit higher, maybe a 7.5 or an 8. And the Meguiars might be like a 7 or a 6.5 if you're being really stingy for that hydrophobic flick. Let's just change the angle. Put this over here. Let's just have a look at we'll do some beadage. How's that going? There we go. There we go. Let's build up the beadage until it gets to the limit. There we go. Not much in it, but those beads are better. Just a little tiny bit juicier, but these products are quite evenly matched actually on hydrophobicity. But yeah, I'm going to go with my original statement. So the Autoglym 7.5, 8 out of 10 for its hydrophobicity on application. The Meguiars maybe a 7 out of 10, something like that. This is just a little tiny bit, like about a 1 out of 10 better in favour of the Autoglym. Both of them I think would live up to the claim of being hydrophobic. Very little in it. Very little in there. So if we come down to the last test, durability, what I'm going to do, that panel is going to stay outside. You know the drill. I'm going to mix up a 5 litre container with water and some detergent, you know, some car wash shampoo. I'll use a neutral brand like Gion Baith, which is a pure shampoo. And I'll just keep a mitt dunked in there, and I'll wash that every time I walk past the garage. Just go over it. I'll take that tape off and just go over it in horizontal passes, like almost like I'm machine polishing it, but with my hand, just doing the horizontal pass, just so we're consistent. And I'll put that through somewhere between 20 to 40 passes while it's outside over the next say 10 days, and we'll just observe that hydrophobic performance and declare the one, you know the one that's looking the best. I'll show you, and we'll conclude the video. Okay guys, so we're going to finish this off. I think for me the Autoglym Extra Gloss Protection seems to be showing a little bit more durability. It's 6 days later, around 4 wash passes a day, so around 16 passes, and the Autoglym is just showing a little bit more hydrophobic performance. than the Meguiars. There's not a lot in it. How long would you expect these to last on a car if you apply them? I'd guess, but from my use of extra gloss protection before and Meguiar's liquid waxes, maybe 2 to 3 months, but maybe it could be longer. It's hard to tell. That is only a simulation. If we add up all the points, the Autoglym Extra Gloss Protection gets 4 points, or has won 4 categories. The Meguiars has won 1. So on paper, the Autoglym wins. Let's just talk about where the Autoglym Extra Gloss Protection is strong. The filling effect on hazed paintwork was noticeable, and you could see it with your eyeballs when you've got the torch on the panel, which is cool. The price of the product is better, the durability is better, and it's slightly more hydrophobic. However, the downside is the chalky application and the 30-minute cure time and the kind of solvent nature of this solvent emulsion or liquid wax and resin product. So it's a bit more old school. I think it's fair to say, if you had more tired, weathered paint and you didn't have a machine polisher, the Autoglym system with the super resin polish and the extra gloss protection might be the best option. If your paintwork was better though and had less kind of haze and fine swirls, I think the Meguiars system has shown us that it delivers better gloss but less haze reduction. I personally prefer using the Meguiars product to the Autoglym one. It is that buff. That buff to me is very important. This has got a very good slick buff and gives you a very nice finish. So I think this product perhaps edges it for me personally, but there's all the kind of data and the testing. This is only really an attempt to do a set of tests and talk about the products in a kind of hopefully constructive way. Both these products are going to serve you well. I actually feel like they're both decent value, because even this bottle here, which is a bit more expensive at whatever it costs, about £18 versus £14, still going to be hard work for a guy at home to go through and actually use all this. But both products seem to deliver on their claims well. Relatively easy to use, relatively hydrophobic, and I think you get the rough idea. So let me know in the comments what your personal favourites are. It might be different products beyond these two brands. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel.
Holding on to what I knew, but the moment's gone. Where was I when you